Hello, week in life vlog time. Yes, so this is week commencing Monday, 11th of April 2022, of course. So planning to be in the van on the run 4 days this week, Monday to Thursday. Not going to bother Friday because it is a bank holiday, Easter weekend, this coming weekend. So I won't work this Friday. In the van at least, but I probably will do Amazon in my car just because I'm going to have the Monday off bank holiday because I'm back in Wales. And you know, when you're self-employed and working like I do at the moment, very few strings kind of thing, and commitments, bank holidays and standard days off don't really mean so much because you know I can just take a day off when I want, really, as long as I earn enough money to live off and stuff. And I haven't, done particularly great start this year, so I'll just do Amazon in the car. I think that's the plan anyway. And then I'll have Saturday, Sunday, Monday off, and then back in the van on Tuesday next week. So yeah, fuel prices, little bit of good news here. They have come down a little bit. So the UK fuels, which is the Shell card I get through UK fuels, is 139.31. And then the other one, which is the BWOC or Block one, which is their own card, control for diesel. That is 136.77. Yeah, there you go. So that's with VAT. That means I'm paying 164.13 pence a litre. So in terms of the pre-VAT prices, so it's 136.77 this week, the cheapest. And last week it was 140.41. So they've come down a little bit, 3.5 pence or 3, something like that. Still a lot higher than they were beginning of this year. You know, before it just started going up crazy amount when it was like 117, 118 beginning this year. So they're still expensive, but heading in the right direction. And I did hear on the radio today, you know, cost of crude oil, Brent crude or whatever, per barrel has gone below $100 a barrel. So that's good news. So that will eventually filter through to the pumps. Probably take longer than it should do to filter through, but hopefully there's more decreases or drops coming down in fuel price. Yeah, so I started this morning. Actually started looking for jobs at 10:15, but wasn't just because I was my normal Monday laziness. I needed 2 new tyres on the back of this, or one in particular. So I've done before tyre review on the Bridgestones, which came fitted to the van. So I had the fronts replaced. That's 50,000 or so miles, with 2 Continentals because I couldn't get the same tyres again at that time. And the backs, driver's side, offside, so behind me on the rear, wasn't, well, it was low, but it was like maybe 3.5 mil of tread. But the one on the near side, particularly on the outside, on the kind of like the shoulder, the one my side had worn more on the outside than the inside as well. I don't know if that's just a large van thing. If anyone knows, let me know. And the one on the left side was down to the sort of, had 2 tread wear indicators in it. It was down to the first one of them, which I think is 2 mil, and then the lower one is 1.6 mil, which is the legal limit. So I changed it when the outside got down to 2 mil, and it's on just under 64,000 miles now. I think the reason why the near side wears more, particularly on vans, I never noticed it in cars, when I'm fully loaded, you know, and I'm running at 3.5 tons and I've got like just over a ton in the back, especially going around roundabouts, especially because I do a lot of motorway, you know, work and that kind of thing, you tend to go more, turn right more and loaded, and that scrubs the tyres. I think that's the difference. I've heard before people say, I think it's on Pete's channel, that yeah, your near side tyres normally wear quicker. So what I did on this case, I didn't buy 2 new ones. I looked for the original tyre again, the Bridgestone. They seem to be available more now, and they were when I needed fronts. so I'm guessing they've just had more come into the country since then. Must have just been a shortage last time I checked. Needed tyres. So I bought one, I replaced a new one on the near side, one that was worn down to, well, really need replacing, and then the spare, I got switched the driver's side behind me, I switched that side with the spare, so the spare was a brand new of that tyre, obviously came all around on it, 4 tyres plus the spare. I thought it's pointless having a brand new premium tyre under the van, because vans, you know, degrade over time, they perish the rubber cracks and stuff. So I thought, put the best tyre off the rear on the spare, use the spare one, and then get a new one, replace the worst tyre, which is what I did. The reason I had to change the tyres on the rims is, for some reason, on these vans, the spare wheel is painted black, where all the other wheels are painted silver. So I thought, if I just swap it over, it's just going to look daft, so I'm going to have to get the tyre changed over. So I bought the tyre off Black Circles, the one tyre, so obviously fitment of everything of that side, the passenger side, near side, yeah, passenger side was paid for. I used the same like local independent tyre place that I used to get the tyres on my Suzuki Swift. I got my set of Michelin Sports all around on that. I thought, you know, I'd rather go to a local-ish one, well, a local like independent, rather than go to a big chain, because, you know, maybe it's because I'm a little independent one-man band owner driver, I tend to like to use smaller firms for stuff when I can. Rather than some big multinational chain was just going, all profits going to shareholders and stuff like that. Big investment firms and stuff. So that was that side, and then this side I said I'll pay cash to swap the spare over with this side. So they charged me 15 quid cash to swap the spare over, so they basically have to take 2 tyres off and put 2 tyres on. I thought new valves and balancing, that's alright. Got it all done. At 10:15, checked the feed, bid on a few jobs, didn't get them, which is kind of a good thing as it worked out. And then I took the spare off under the van. I didn't do it. I took that out myself and put it back in afterwards. So I've done it before when I had a puncture. Remind myself how to do it. And then I went to refit the spare, and then I realised they hadn't had new valves. But when I went back, they said, "Oh, it's because they're metal valves, not supposed to replace them." But I'm pretty sure when I had the fronts, the Continentals, that quick fit, pretty sure they gave me new valves, even though they look identical to ones on the back, so maybe they didn't. So that's alright, fair enough, that's explained. But we didn't balance them either. They literally just swapped the tyres over. So I said they're not being balanced. To like the guy there, kind of the manager, and then he shouts over to the guy, he goes, "Did you balance them?" And he just shook his head. And he said, "Yeah, just bring it in. Like, sorry about this, bring it in and we'll sort it out." But by that time, when I first went there, I was the only one there. When I went back, there was like probably 4 or 5 others. So a bit of a wait there, a bit of a faff to get them wheels off, balance back on. And you know, it means the spare hasn't been balanced. I could have took the spare out the holder and got them to do that as well, but I just thought I can't be bothered. And if I do need to put the spare on, it's only going to be on for like minimum time possible, because last time I had a puncture, I just don't take any more. Finish the job you're on or whatever, go and get it fixed or replace the tyre, and then the spare goes back underneath. So still not ideal, just a bit naffed really. If I won't be going back there, put it that way. They've had their chance kind of thing. I just get a bit annoyed. It's a bit like when I take my van to the dealership, these warranty issues I've had and stuff, and just poor service kind of thing. And again, this is just poor service from an independent local firm. And I just think, can't people just do the job, do what's included, you know, around cut corners and stuff? Just kind of gets on my nerves. It just seems to me that's the way these days. Even with with this local independent, even when I went to like Specsavers and stuff, it's nothing to do with the vans or anything, but I went to get my new sunglasses a while back, adjusted, and I booked myself in for a full adjustment, and then yeah, it didn't basically. We just tweaked them or whatever. And it's all get you out the door, get you sort of gone as soon as you can, kind of thing. I just think, no, just do the job right, you know. Do what I'm booked in for, what I've paid for. But that's a bit of a whinge, but anyway. So this has turned into a long start, but yeah, and then I started looking for jobs. Say, what was that? Say about 11ish then. Got a job pretty sharpish actually, but the feed was really, really quiet. I thought I might struggle here. Might end up going. Might have been 11:30. I got the job. Going back to back home and getting nothing today. But I did get a job actually, and it was going to Durham. It's about 6 miles from it. It was in Oldbury picking up. I was going to Durham. Went and picked up. It was down as a short wheelbase job. I quoted 185 and it was 200 miles loaded. I had about 6 miles to get to it. I was quite surprised to get it. 185 for 200 miles. When I got there, it was one tiny little like wooden pallet, like probably 2 foot by 1 foot. And the guy came out carrying it, so there was no weight to it really. Put it on the back of the van. I dragged it to the front of the van. Real quick load. Got the paperwork. Started heading up to Durham, and then I got a phone call just as I pulled onto the M5 saying, oh, we've had a call from the customer saying I think they've messed up, and the place I'm delivering to shuts at 3 o'clock, which is surprising because it sounded like a big sort of railway workshop up there. Railway workshop. So she said, I'll just pull over. This was I can't. I just got on the M5. So I got off on the next junction, which was on the M6, junction 7, sort of South Walsall. And then she rang me up again like then and says, yeah, sorry, you're going to have to take it back. Job's cancelled. So I had 6 miles to get to the job, done 6 miles, and then back 6 miles, just under 20 miles. And she says, oh, all right, what's your charge? And I thought, well, it's not going to be 25 quid cancellation charge, which I realised is too little. And I thought even 40 quid, because, you know, it's kind of like getting late in the day now. And this is kind of like messing me up. I didn't say this, and this is what I was thinking. I said, well, I said 50 quid. Which I think's fair, because I think I've been undercharging for this stuff. And the goods were on board. I was on my way, go back, and it's kind of, yeah. And they did agree to it. Not straight away. I think the woman on the phone had to ask a colleague, and then they approved it. Updated the job, and that was that. So I took it back, dropped it, which was, you know, a real quick tip because they expected me, and it was only small. I thought, bugger, that could be it. Could be 50 quid for the day. But pulled up, and then within half an hour, I actually got another job. It was 137 miles, but it was in Redditch, so it was like 20 odd miles from it. Beginning this year, there's been loads of jobs coming out of Redditch with one particular shipper. It's quite interesting because the shipper's by their name isn't a West Midlands shipper, but anyway. And I've quoted on loads of these when I'm quite far away, so I've always thought I didn't get them, sort of, you know, including something for getting there. So there's probably people going a lot cheaper. But I've even quoted on them when I'm in Redditch and not got any. I've always wondered, when you start seeing loads of work coming out of a certain area with a certain shipper, you've started to get curious. I wonder what that is. So I actually got one today. 135 quid for a long wheelbase van, 137 miles. But with the miles getting there, it was actually worked out slightly less than 85 pence a mile all miles. Only like very slightly less. I think I worked out it was 137 to do that, but I quoted 135 just so it's a shade less than £1 a mile loaded. And they phoned me up and gave me a job. I had like half-hour drive to get there, down the M5 and A38, and then yeah, got loaded. It was just 2 sort of bathroom panels, wall panels, and 2 edge trims. Something to do with like a company that supplies bathroom sort of fittings and furniture and stuff like that for, mobility, people who were obviously not very mobile. And I dropped, probably the reason I got it was down to Cullompton, which is Devon, just off the M5. Well, it said Cullompton, but it was actually 7 miles south of the M5, and it was like a beautiful area where this house was, in a tiny little village. But it was like, proper single track roads to get to it from the motorway, really. So tipped that about 5:30, about 5:45, and I thought, need to get some food. Nearest town is Cullompton. That's got a junction on the M5, so I headed here. Had some chips, pretty nice. Filled up with fuel. And I'm going to be tramping here tonight. So I'm in Lidl or Aldi car park at the moment. Can't stop here tonight. Sorry. Oops. I've done that before. Amazing I've not done that before. Can't stay tonight because it's 2 hours maximum parking, but I've stayed in Cullompton before, so I know a public car park which is free between like 6 and 9 and 8 in the morning, so I'm going to go there. And then in the morning there's a Tesco here, so I'll probably go and get me meal deal. There's actually services off the M5 here, the M5 junction, so there's probably showers there. So it's the first day of the week, I don't need a shower today, but it would have been a good opportunity to have a shower if I needed one. And when I stopped here before, I got a job out of Exeter. That was quite a good job, actually. And I've been thinking, when I come down the southwest, I hope I don't curse myself here, but yeah, that was alright. I went to, I can't remember what it's called now. I went to Plymouth before and got a job out of Oakhampton the night before, so I knew exactly what I was doing in the morning. That worked out well. Is it Salcombe? I went there before, which is like proper out this way down past Torquay. Got a job out of Torquay, so I've done alright down here, and I'd much rather be here in the morning because I'm flexible tomorrow, because I don't need to get home. I can tramp Tuesday night, tramp up until Thursday night's my get home day. Thursday's my get home day this week. I'd much rather be here than be like around London area, because there won't be many jobs when they do come up. There's not a great deal of competition. Right next to the M5, so I can actually get up to Taunton and that way, and down to Exeter, so cover a decent bit of area, maybe up to Minehead. So yeah, I think I'm much better off here than like somewhere like London or like in the northwest or wherever where the feed's quiet anyway. It's quiet everywhere at the moment, but there's shed loads of competition in them places. So that's a very long start to the week. So that's Monday. Right, Tuesday evening now, about 8:30, something like that. Only one job today, but it was a very good job, so very big job, so very good day in total in the end. Yeah, so I woke up in Cullompton, set my alarm for 7:15, fell back to sleep, woke up at 8:15, thought to myself, it's only free parking between 6 and 8 in the morning, or 6 at night till 8 in the morning. So I better get out of here quick, sharp. So yeah, got out of there, drove down the local Tesco, and then packed all my gear away there. And there's a few jobs pinging up down that way before 9. I actually got a job pretty sharpish. I got it at 9. It pinged up, medium wheelbase, picking up from an auction house in Oakhampton, and an auction house in Yeovil, and then dropping off Standish, is it, or something? I think it might be Standish, just north, which is where I am now, just north of Wigan, not far from the M6. And it was a strange job. It said picking up from these 2 auction houses. It was on as a hot shot, red or whatever, but it was very flexible. It just needs to be done this week, so I thought probably not going to get that for sort of regular do it straight away money, but it was worth a bid, so I quoted it. It was 313 miles, and I think I had 38 miles to get there, so I quoted it 298 quid, which is basically 85 pence a mile all the way through. He rang me pretty much straight away. Got the job. I put in the notes, I'm available now. ETA 45 minutes to collection, first collection, and it'll be dedicated direct straight through. So yeah, got it. Went and picked up from Auction House in Oakhampton, which is further down the M5 than the A30, basically Bodmin Moors. Beautiful part of the world. I picked up a load from there before when I went down to Plymouth last year. So I picked up twice from Oakhampton now, not a big place. And that was quite interesting. They weren't expecting me, neither collections were expecting me. So I just had I'm just a courier, and they just booked me and said, come here ASAP. And then they get it together. So in this kind of situation, you're collecting for the person who bought it, so that, they're the customer really, you're representing the customer. So like the delivery point is a person who've booked me, so they kind of, get it sorted. So you don't annoy the customer. So yeah, they're both right in the end. So got loaded there, and then loaded at the second one. Nice drive over to Yeovil. And it was just like a mix of stuff, of an armchair, some stools, some china, like crockery. Is that crockery? China anyway. Bags of boxes of books, nothing particularly heavy, some old paintings and artwork, some old sewing machines, stuff like that. Nothing of any really high value, because they sent me a list, which is basically like the receipt for stuff they bought from the auctions, and a lot of it was only went for like £1-2, like like it was something really small, like a glass vase or whatever. It went for £1, and the total across the two pickups, one was £220 and the other one was £240 they'd spent, and the other one was 120 maybe, so like 360. They've paid me 298 to collect the goods, which is pretty much what they paid for it. But I've never really done this before, like antiques kind of work, and both the auctions do antiques mainly, and house clearance and that kind of stuff I collected from. So I've done over 700 jobs now on the CX, and it's the first one like that, because I think this kind of work tends to go with couriers they know. It's kind of a bit specialised, because I carry obviously straps, didn't need any of that for the load. I carried some removal blankets. I did have 4, but I had to throw one away because it got some stinky stuff on it, so I've only got 3. I've got 1 dust sheet, which is basically an old bed sheet. So I'm not really kitted out for this kind of stuff. So luckily the guy at the first one gave me some boxes and some old newspapers to wrap stuff up in. I just said to him, this isn't my normal kind of work. I normally do pallets, but they've booked me. And then the second one, I asked for some boxes. Still had the newspaper from the first one. Yeah, and so got loaded. Nice drive from Yeovil up. Beautiful scenery. I think it was A39 from Yeovil going back to the M5. Yeah, really nice part of the world. Then up the M5 onto the M6. Pretty clear run all the way, really. Done a lot of miles today, well over 300 miles, like 340 or something, and very little traffic. It's been a good day. It's a bit strange when you get these whole day jobs, because normally it's like, not often I get one day and it's a good earnings day, a good takings day. Normally you need to do 2+ jobs. Yeah, but you do get them every now and then. And I tipped at this company's place. It's actually an Irish company, and they have looks like we just rent an industrial unit here, and then the guy there says it goes over there, and then most of it will get sold to go into like pubs and stuff, just sort of like decorations and stuff. Not really the decor of a place, get tied up. And the armchair will probably get recovered, he says, in leather and get sold off for more money. Yeah, it's quite an interesting job, bit different. Good earnings in one thing, so I worked out it was 88 pence a mile in total, because it was when I put into Google, it shaved 10 miles off without me like having to find a slightly. That was just the only route it gave me actually. Only suggestion. I'm gonna put it in. Yeah. So and then I had a good, reasonable day yesterday. It was over £1 a mile all miles. So I'm on 93p a mile so far this week all miles. Decent day yesterday considering it's kind of a half day, and then today's a pretty good day. So hopefully this is, things picking up. That'll be nice. So I'm purchasing the Northwest. Good place to start tomorrow. I've got to find somewhere to kip tonight because I'm in an Aldi car park and I can't stay here much longer. We'll run out of time. So that's till the end of Tuesday. Still Tuesday. I meant to mention. So I mentioned in the video I did last week. It's kind of occurred to me over time that all companies on the courier exchange are like transport firms, like logistics firms, transport firms, couriers. So I kind of saw that and I thought, well, you must be a stipulation to be a member. You have to be a transport company. You can't be, just a non-transport company who's looking to get their goods shipped. I always wondered why there wouldn't be any more now, like people who sell furniture or anything really that need courier, and couriers regular might like pay for a membership and then not go to a local courier firm, just like do it all direct with subbies and get it basically for subcontractor prices. But the name of this company I did this for, it's one of them names, there's a few of them, like it's not obvious that's what the company does. It's just like the name, which is basically their surname of whoever set the company up. And yeah, I don't think they are a transport company, this one, so maybe that isn't the case. Does anyone know anything about that? Please put it below. Do you have to be a transport company or be a company that provides transport, even if it's not your core business or your like multifaceted business, to get on the courier exchange or the haulage exchange? Interested to know. And in this case, obviously the job's just going to go for the going rate. Basically, it's a free quote or whatever. But this kind of ties in with what I said before, video a while back about what is a backload. So to me, a backload is when you're subcontracting to someone, that's always going to be a backload rate. So regardless of where you're doing it from, whether it's your home area out or to get back home, or not even to get home, just to ping around if you're tramping like I do, if you sub into a contract to another transport firm who are, got the customer who's the end customer, it's always going to be a backroad rate. But if it's a company that putting jobs on the CX and they're not a transport company, so you're not subcontracting, you're basically just contracting straight to the end customer, albeit on an ad hoc basis, should you quote higher. The fact is, if you do quote higher, you're just not going to get it because people just quote the normal money. But yeah, something to ponder. I was thinking about on the way up here. So yeah, that's that one. Right, Wednesday night now, about 8:30. So today was another one job day. But yeah, yesterday was a 1 day job, which was a very good day. Today was a 1 day job, which was a very poor day. Certainly a poor day. So I started looking for jobs maybe 7:30, 7:45 this morning. So in the Northwest, been struggling there so far this year. It used to be my favourite area, but when I've been up there a few times this year, it's like been pretty quiet. The feed, surprisingly quiet for such a normally busy area. Whereas this morning it was busier, and it has been, still not by any means busy, but the number of jobs come pinging up was better, and I've noticed it the last few times I've been up there. But still just took ages to get a first job, or the only job. So I was bidding on jobs. I wasn't bidding on local stuff. I thought I want to get my first job to be like more towards the 150 quid mark, like a decent length job, which I think is the best kind of thing to do. Because if I do one job, like local job, or like 100 quid job, that could end up being it for the day kind of thing. Because more jobs go on early morning or through till midday sort of thing. But yeah, I just didn't get anything for ages, and then the job pinged up from down the M6. I think I was like 17 miles from it or something. Because I was perched just off the M6, going to Hull. It was 110 miles basically. Was it a long wheelbase job? I think it might have been a medium wheelbase job. No, it was a long wheelbase job, I think. And I discounted it because it was going to Hull, and also because I was like, a few miles from it or whatever. And then it was posted again saying pays £110, so they're obviously struggling to get it covered. And I thought, well, it is £1 loaded mile, and that works out with getting there a shade over 85 pence a mile, which is my minimum, all miles. So I just quoted 110 and got it. So by that time of day, it's kind of like just get kind of anything or a longer job. I didn't want to do like a local 40 quid job. Got it, went to pick it up, just some lengths of plastic piping in bundles, some coils of plastic piping, and some boxes. A little bit of handball, but 10 minutes and loaded, if that. And it was the same the other end. Just went from a company, but this company obviously hires some storage in one of these storage places. So it's collecting from one of them. Just took it to some company that does refrigeration and stuff in Hull. Got a biggish firm by the looks of it. So that put me in Hull about tipped about 3:30 or just before. There wasn't many jobs coming up, and most of the jobs that were coming up for the following morning, I think pretty much all of them actually. And then the shipper rang me that I'd just done a job for, but it was about another job they had, because they could obviously see I was still in Hull, but it wasn't until picking up in the morning, 85 miles from Hull down to Wisbeach or Wisbeck or whatever, in sort of Lincolnshire way, if not Cambridgeshire. He says, I don't suppose any chance you're going to be still in Hull tomorrow? And I was like, no, I'm looking for a job tonight really. It was only a small van job, and they were struggling for ages to sell it, because they kept reposting it. That pays 80, pays 85, pays 90, pays 95, pays a ton, pays 100, and at a ton I thought, I actually bid 110, but then I didn't get it. I bid 100. I thought I'd take a risk on it for that, because it's going to be like over £1 a mile, and it's not great because tomorrow we'd be getting home, so it would have been a bit of hiccups. It would have been a bit of a risk to do it, because it's a very quiet area, which isn't too bad when and kind of flexible. But tomorrow's get home day. I'm going to do this, finish off later. I stopped hiccuping. Right, yeah, it seemed to have stopped hiccuping now. So yeah, I didn't get that job to Wisbeach, which turned out quite well in the end, because another job pinged up about the same time, and it was a long wheelbase job from Hull, 4 miles from where I am, 6 to 8 miles loaded, going to sort of Huddersfield way, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. So I went in at 78, and the guy rang me straight away and gave me it. I think down here they struggle to cover jobs quite a lot. I think it's actually a decent place to go, this part of the world, like Hull, Scunthorpe, even down to Grimsby and stuff, because it's very, very industrial down here, lots of industrial estates and stuff, but it's not a great deal of vans and drivers. So if you're flexible, like in tramping mode, yeah, it's a good place to go, I'd say. So I've got that for the morning now. It's picking up at 7. So the plan is, well, between 7 and 8. So I'm going to get there at 7 and hopefully get it done by 9, half 9. And then that's a good start to the day. I'll be on 78 quid, possibly before 9, hopefully. So that'll hopefully make up for today's poor show. And then tomorrow I need to then get home from Huddersfield. So I might have to go in reasonably competitive for a Yorkshire-ish job, that area of Yorkshire down to the Midlands, and then maybe try and do an extra one like min charging close to home. That would be sort of ideal, but that's the sort of plan for tomorrow. Yeah, so I kind of like nailed my foot to the floor by taking this job. It was about 5 o'clock when I did that, and I thought, well, there's a chance something's going to come up tonight. There's always a chance, but do I quote for jobs in the morning and try and get something early, or do I just not go for these jobs and then hope something's going to come up tonight? And if it doesn't, then I might not get a job till midday tomorrow as well. As it happened, a job did come up, but it was all the way down in Grimsby, but they did struggle to sell it. So it's Grimsby to St Helens, picking up like 7 o'clock this evening, straight drive. And they struggled to sell it because they reposted it again, but then with it putting in extra stop, so it was Scunthorpe, Grimsby, then St Helens. And I've seen shippers do this before. I've seen this shipper do it before. When they're struggling to get someone to cover a job, they'll basically add an extra leg, so they'll put the extra stop first in like closer to where there's going to be more drivers. So they're kind of saying there, we need it covered, and we'll pay for this kind of extra mileage if you think. But obviously I'd already got a job booked for the morning, so I couldn't go for it. So I could have gone for that, maybe you've got it, and then today would have been a better day, like definitely over 200 quid. But that's how it goes, isn't it? It's sort of second guessing, really. But anyway, that's the plan for tomorrow. Good thing was then, obviously I was in Hull, parked up by the waterfront, by this retail park, by the old docks, part of the docks. Nice weather, job for the morning, so there's still a chance I could have done like a local job if it came up, but didn't happen. So I went for a nice walk. There's like a coastal path, goes right along the coast, right next to sort of the industrial docks, so I could have a good mooch through the fences and see what's happening at the docks at the big ships and what's being imported and exported there. Loads of timber, look like that's come from Scandinavia, a lot of it, and some of it from Russia, because I could tell from the packaging on it. Mentioned Russia. And then you kind of like go all the way along, and then it's quite cool. The path goes up and over one of the warehouses, so I'll put some videos on there, video clips, and you get a good view from up there, and then you can see the locks, into the ship locks into the industrial part to keep the water in there. Yeah, I'm gonna walk back, got the Chinese, see what gave me the hiccups. And I'm going to tramp tonight in Lidl in Hull, because it's quite a modern one. I've noticed this with Lidl's, particularly new ones. They don't have any parking restrictions, they don't have any gates on the entrance and exit. So should be alright here tonight, up early tomorrow, and then finish the CX part of the week off tomorrow, the on the run in a van job. Yeah, how'd you like that? A little bit of background music, otherwise it would be just been wind noise. So yeah, and it was just a bit too quiet without anything. Yeah, so see Trump yesterday, went and picked up at 7, got loaded really quickly. It was fiberglass mould. Here it comes again, MGZR. A fiberglass mould for a horse box, apparently, like at the top at the front. And what they've done, this company, they make them by the looks of it, they modified it to fit on top of another vehicle, so a bit like a Luton box at the front, but for horse boxes. So it was an existing mould, and they like used fiberglass and filler and car filler to sort of make it the right shape to fit a different vehicle. And then I took it to a place near Huddersfield, but in the hills by Huddersfield, where they actually make the moulds, the master moulds, to then make the fiberglass mouldings from, you know what I mean. And when I picked it up, we just plonked it in the van. It had like flat at the back sort of thing, so I just put it standing up. It's probably like 1.5 meters tall, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that'll be fine there, mate." And I'm like, "Don't think so, mate. It needs strapping some way, otherwise go around the roundabout, it's just going to go slide side to side or tip over and damage it." So I persuaded them in the end to put one strap over it, just from like in line with the back door, the rear of like the side loading door, just going over the top of it. But it was kind of going over the bit they'd modified with filler and stuff, so obviously couldn't do it too tight. So I just said, put it over there, you do it as tight as you want it, but it needs to obviously stop it from sliding and support it a bit. So it's fine. I took it nice and steady, of course, but I'm a bit daisy anyway, to be honest, in the van. So tipped that, nice guy at tip, and then pulled up in his business park on a hill, nice views. Started looking for jobs, obviously looking to head south towards home, the Midlands, and then the feels quite busy actually. And then I got a job pretty sharpish, not far from where I was, like 16, well maybe it was 16 miles or something, I don't know. No, I think it was less than that, maybe 7 or 8 miles. And it's going down to Daventry, priced at 85 pence a mile, straight through, long wheelbase job, including getting their miles. They thought that's getting me to sort of East Midlands, a lot closer to home, down the M1. I went and picked it up, 1 IBC. If you don't know what an IBC is, it's like a pallet-sized container for fluids on like a pallet frame, and they've normally got like a metal cage around them. And I don't think I've ever carried an IBC before. Done over 700 jobs on this CX now, first IBC I'm pretty sure. And it's like 1,000 litres of liquid, which is 1 ton, he said. So I was van 1 of 2, because there's 2 of them, so it was 1 per van. The guy, he was a bit of an arsey guy really at the collection, just not met one for a little while. Just you do get some people, I mentioned it before, we just seem to think they're in like a position of power, because there's people who load trucks and vans and stuff, and just generally a bit of an attitude, but I'm going to do it too much. And then got loaded. I don't like it really. My payload in this van is about 1,100 kilograms, so I can take the weight, no trouble. But if it's one pallet or 1 IBC or whatever, and it's 1 ton, it makes it a bit of a pain, because if I put it in a side loading door, the weight is more towards the front axle, and it's a front wheel drive van. Which means the front axle is definitely going to be overloaded. What I have to do is put them on the back. Luckily on this van, which is good for doing this kind of work, pallets and that, the rear wheels are close to the back door, to the back of the van. So you put it in the back and then get them to slide as far forward to the forks as they can. So put it on, then lift it up at the back, and then slide it on as far as they can, but not so far that the person at the other end can't get it out. That way you can get most of the weight in front of the axle, or the back of the pallet, pretty much central with the wheels. So it's kind of most of the weight in between the axles, if you know what I mean. But then most of the weight is on the back axle. So the front won't be overloaded. The back I don't think is, but possibly. It's hard to tell. Peter Curry did a video recently about weights and stuff, because most people get it wrong when they start out, and massively overestimate what their van can carry in terms of weight. But in some ways, knowing the weight is the easy thing to work out. Just gotta put all your gear in a van, make sure it's filled up with fuel and all the other fluids. You got all the stuff in the van you'd normally carry, and then go to a weigh bridge and sit in it, and then take that away from whatever the max gross weight of your van is. But in terms of axle weight, it's a lot harder. So anyway, when I loaded that, I tend to not go too fast on a motorway, like just over 60 really, just because you get less heat build up in the tyres and stuff. It's all just being very cautious really, but better to be safe than sorry. I always put like at least 2 obviously straps, but sometimes I put 4 straps on the pallet just in case I have a sudden stop or whatever. Yeah, so that's that one. Got that tipped here, and then got a job pretty sharpish again. Pulled around the corner, ate my sandwich. Feed was pretty busy. I think because it's the end of a 4-day week before Easter weekend, quite possibly, so it's really picked up today. In terms of feed, it's just quite nice to see it busy. Hopefully it'll carry on into next week. A job pinged up from sort of towards Coventry, 16 miles to it, and 73 miles loaded, so 89 miles in total. I quoted it, 9 small van job, going blatantly up to the main JCB place because of the postcode and the shipper it's with. I quoted it £90, which is just over £1 a mile, all miles for me. It's a small van job. They ring me up and says, can I do it for 85? I thought, well, it is a small van job. Yeah, so I've accepted that one, but the way I'm going to go, and it's not going to take, like, might take 5 minutes longer, the whole mileage is going to be 75 miles, so it'll be 85 quid for 75 miles. And I've already worked out, once I've done this, I can then drive, I'm closer to home than where I am now, about 14 miles closer. I'm driving 35 miles home empty from JCB, and still be over 90 pence a mile all miles for the 4 days this week. So, and the earnings are going to be okay really, considering how it's been of late. So that is pretty much the end of today. I'm going to do Amazon tomorrow if I can get the blocks booked in. I've not got them booked in yet. So if I can get them booked in, I will do. If not, I'll just take the 4 days off the weekend, have a bit of a break. But really, I'd rather work and just earn the money because it's been a slow start to the year. And just do a bit of scooting around in the Suzuki Swift, doing my Amazon Flex. So yeah, but I'll do a summary, financial summary later on, and say whether I did Flex or not. Guess where I am. Yep, JCB queue. You can give them one of these things again, like you get a harvester. I've never been given one of these when I've come to this site before, so this isn't a good sign. But I'm hoping it's just because of shift change. Arrived here just before 5. Looks like 5 o'clock is a big shift change. Loads of people leaving the car park, and apparently they can't let anyone in while that's happening. So hopefully it won't be too much longer, but you never know. Right, Sunday morning now. Time for an update. Filming this up in Cannock Chase again on a mountain bike. So down that way, if you can see the town, that'll be Ruisley. This isn't a cycle trail, this is just like a normal path, but yeah. So I might just sit down. So we didn't bother doing Flex on the Friday. I was looking for blocks on the Thursday, and there wasn't much coming up for Droitwich, which is where I've been doing it recently. And the ones that were coming up that I could see that fitted in, like the 1 o'clock afternoon standard delivery blocks, they're only 3 hours, all of them that I saw. So I think they've cut down the hours again at Droitwich in line with the other depots, so that would have been like a 3-hour block for the afternoon. And then if I did get a morning one same day, it would have been probably 3.5 or maybe 3 hours, so like 6 or 6.5 hours in total.
it's just not worth me doing it when it's like that. When it was like 4 hours and 3.5, so I'm getting paid for 7.5 hours, because the amount of parcels you do, regardless of how they change the time, it's the same, you know what I mean? So just been a bit tight again, so I thought, stuff it, I'll have a day off, day of leisure and pleasure. So had a nice line in the morning, which is a leisure, then went for a bike ride on the road bike in the afternoon, got a long ride, just enjoyed a Easter weekend anyway. So yeah, I can do proper financial summary for the 4 days I did, go through the numbers, so I've not done it in a while like this. So it's 4 days working, wasn't it? Monday to Thursday. So Monday I did that 50 quid sort of cancellation job that cancelled when I was en route. Then 135, which is 185 for the day. Tuesday, that one big job picking up from the auctions, 298. Wednesday was the worst day. One job, 110. That's when I struggled to get up the northwest. Thursday, 3 jobs, so 78, which was the early job from Hull, 105 and 825, which finished me off in JCB. I didn't have to wait there too long. I think it was just because of the shift change. Just after I filmed that, basically it started buzzing and I went in and got unloaded. And then Friday, obviously day off, so that's 861 for the 4 days, which is £215.25 takings per day average. So that's takings, of course, as I always say, that's not profit. Did 946 miles, all miles loaded and unloaded, from leaving on the Monday to getting back on a Thursday night, which works out at 91.0 pence a mile, which is pretty decent, especially with the price of fuel now. Kind of need to be more towards 90 than my normal 85 pence, but then it's been quiet, so no additional charges, no tolls or anything this week. So once I take my takings, which I've just gone through, add my VAT bonus, so the VAT I get to keep because I'm on a flat rate VAT scheme, and then take away my fixed standard costs, my fixed costs, which is 20 quid a day, but I do need to work out again, as I mentioned before. And then my variable costs, which are 33 pence a mile, of which about 19 pence is diesel. The rest is everything else, depreciation on a van, maintenance, servicing, that kind of stuff, tyres, all the per mile costs, variable costs. I'm left with £537 profit for the week, which is £135 a day. So it's not a target of 150 a day when I'm tramping, because for them 4 days I did tramp 3 days, so I didn't get home while I was working, but it's still a lot better than it has been. So I've done alright this last week. I think it's because we've got to Easter now, it's a 4-day week. I'm hoping next week will be the same, because it's Bank Holiday Monday tomorrow. So I'm hoping next week is going to be busy, and that's going to kick the CX off properly. There's a lot of like jobs being posted on there, and then I can start, earning 150 towards the 150 a day profit, which is my wage pretty much. And it's just much nicer this time of year. Quite enjoyed it this week, getting down to them auctions down the southwest. Beautiful, nice walk in Hull, checking out the port and stuff. That's what I like doing. I quite enjoy the tramping when it's like this time of year now. And if the money's good and I'm enjoying it, the experience through the summer, then that's good. So that's it. Plan for next week is to work 4 weeks on the CX, Tuesday to Friday. To say Monday, Bank Holiday Monday, Easter weekend. Yeah, hope for a decent week again. That's it really. So as ever, any comments, please put them below. As I've asked you guys earlier in the video, just to go over it again, do you know if you have to be a transport company to join the CX, or the HX as well will be the same, the haulage exchange? Because this job I did for the antiques, I think they're more of like an antique company, but maybe they've got a transport arm of the company, I don't know. Because it always struck me, why don't more end users pay for it and then see if they can get jobs covered on there? Because normally did the whole backload video a while back, and for me a backload is when you're subcontracting to a transport firm, a contracting firm, and you're just doing one of their jobs. So they've gone out and found the customer, deal with the customer, keep the customer happy and all that stuff, do a lot of the hard work, and then you just subcontract and do the actual load. And then obviously you probably keep, say, 2/3 of a job. So I've always thought of every job on a CX to be at backload rates, whether it's whatever they call it on a CX, because gone before I don't get the backload thing. It should be co-load really. It should be like urgent, dedicated, direct, and co-load. Hot shot being urgent, dedicated, and direct. But I've always thought all jobs in a CX are backload rate. So if you're getting jobs 100% off the CX like me, you're working backloads all the time. That's why I need to tramp to make it work. Can't just do one job and drive home empty and expect to make a profit, basically. So that's the question. Do you have to be a transport company to join the CX? Yeah, and any other comments, please put them below, and cheers for watching.